Hello, everybody. This is Courtney Rice, WWT's Media and PR Princess, and everything you need to know about all elite wrestling. And I'm just kind of getting my thoughts together and everything else, and I'm pulling up the match card and everything because it was definitely a nice, solid episode of Dynamite because we are on the road to Wrestle Dream. We are on the road to Wrestle Dream. And also 1 week from tonight, it's Fright Night. So lots of build up happening right now, and we're just gonna get into it. So, and I just got the match card and everything, so I am set. Of course, we kicked off the show with our AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, and where him and the BCC are continuing their reign of terror within AEW and beating up half of the locker room. We've seen some people from the locker room trying to stand up a bit, but it's starting to progress a bit, and I will talk a little bit about it throughout the post show. So we kicked off with him. And also, I mentioned last week, he actually mentioned that AEW hasn't changed since he's been there. And even when Bryan Danielson was champion, he didn't mention some of the other champions before him. Because if you know, before him, it was Swerve, Samoa Joe, and MJF. Now, I know Samoa Joe, we haven't seen him since summer. MJF and Swerve, they have rivalries they're handled respectfully. But I think it may not suit well with most specifically Swerve because he wants that title. So I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Also, also in the show, we got to hear from Mr. Hangman Adam Page, and also with his rivalry in regards to Jay White. And Tony Schiavone was asking him on his mind, but of course, Hangman had a lot to say, where he attacked Jay White last week in his match against Christian and talked about how he nearly took Juice Robinson's life. And hey, JD Smith artist, thank you for joining. And also, Mr. Opinionated, you are on the right channel. So we did talk about Hangman Adam Page a bit. He talked about him attacking Juice Robinson, almost ending his career. Also talked about Colton. Talked about Colton, and before he was speaking that, actually no, Austin Gunn, because we haven't seen Austin Gunn in a couple weeks because he took out both of the guns. And also we got to see Colton come out and attack Hangman Adam Page, and then of course Hangman tried to do a lot of more damage. We got to see Jay White and Juice Robinson come out and then tell him that Jay White is coming for him. And he said if it weren't for Christian Cage saving him, he'll be a perfect 5-0 over him. So I have a feeling this rivalry is starting to cook up a bit, and they're going to have a match at Full Gear, and I cannot wait to see it. So, and hopefully we get to see Austin Gunn return soon, because that's why we didn't see him, because a couple weeks ago he was attacked by that ambush Hangman did. So hopefully we'll see him soon and get involved in that match. So that's what the rivalry's there. We also got to witness Sammy Guevara versus Shelton Benjamin. And this was very special for Sammy because he got to wrestle one of his idols when he was a kid, Shelton Benjamin, and that match really did deliver. It was a solid match. Shelton looks good as ever. He was very solid. He was very poised and wise and everything. And they both delivered. So I have to give kudos to Sammy. And plus, it's always nice to see Sammy back on Dynamite TV, even though he's one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. But your winner of the match was Shelton Benjamin. So we got to see that. Also, hold up. I'm trying to get the match card in. We did that. Also, we do have the Ring of Honor Ladder War match between Chris Jericho and Mark Briscoe. I know a lot of people really kind of like dudded on that match, but I actually did enjoy it. And I thought it was a really good match. I just don't know why people kind of like, but I actually enjoyed it. And this rivalry was starting to heat up a bit. It was really starting to heat up a bit, and I was really excited to see that. Of course, we got to see a few bumps from both Mark Briscoe and Chris Jericho. Also, we had shenanigans from members of the Learning Tree trying to help out Chris Jericho. Of course, we got to see Rocky Romero come in. But of course, your winner and new Ring of Honor champion is Chris Jericho. I understand why they gave the belt to Chris, because Mark Briscoe is kind of in the middle of a feud where he's with the conglomeration and they're kind of feuding with the BCC, so it makes a lot of sense. I'm just curious on how this is going to help with Ring of Honor, because maybe this will help people tune into Ring of Honor. I'm very curious on how this rivalry is going to go, but Mike Briscoe had a wonderful reign as Ring of Honor champion. Congratulations to the new champion. Congratulations to the new champion in Chris Jericho. And we got to see Ishii come back. And it looks like he wants to challenge him. Okay, JD Smith. That is true. That is true. Like I said, like, if you haven't watched Ring of Honor, feel free to check it out. But yeah, I'm gonna tune. I haven't watched Ring of Honor. I am aware of Ring of Honor. I know a lot of people watch it. I don't. But JD Smith, I am aware of Ring of Honor. There are some stars that are in Ring of Honor, but we shall see. Well, we shall see. Oh, because we shall see, but it's going to be very interesting on the Learning Tree coming to Ring of Honor soon. So congratulations to Chris Jericho being the champion. Also, I didn't mention earlier, Mariah May had a backstage segment, and it looks like she took out Anna Jay's suitcase, because it looked like their rivalry is starting to heat up, because this past weekend during Battle of the Belts, in the Eliminator match for the AEW Women's World Championship, it's okay, JD Smith. I forgive you. I know it was a joke. It's all good. I'm okay. I know you're trying to give some humor in, but it's all good. But anyways, Anna Jay, Mariah May took out Anna Jay's luggage, and they were getting heated. And also, if you remember from this past weekend from Battle of the Belts, Anna Jay won a title eliminator match, and she gets a shot against the AEW Women's Champion Mariah May at Collision November 2nd in Philadelphia. And I am so proud of Anna Jay finally getting an opportunity, taking seriously as a serious contender, and I am so proud of her, especially the works that she did in Stardom. It really showed that she really is improving on her craft, and I do see her being a future champion, and that match is definitely going to draw. So we got to see some ladies. Come out. Then the next segment, of course, we got to see Mr. Kyle Fletcher describe his actions. Of course, he had that creep, Don Callis, with him, explaining his actions, what he did to Wrestle Dream against his best friend, Will Ospreay. And they had a lot of boos, and Fletcher pretty much blamed the fans as much as Ospreay, as they wanted him to be the next big thing with the brightest future in wrestling. And a lot of people called him the next Will Ospreay. And it really, with Fletcher, it did take it as an insult. And he mentioned he's better than Will Ospreay. And also he mentioned that they were in United Empire for a bit. But he's going to remind not just Don Callis, but he's going to remind everybody on who he is. And then, of course, he brought up how Will Ospreay got his start in New Japan Wrestling with Okada. How, yeah, Boza, Creep is pulling the strings, but Kyle Fletcher talks about how he got his start in New Japan Wrestling with Okada, and then he mentioned Will Ospreay stabbed him in the back, and then with Kenny Omega. And this is going to be an interesting one because I do believe they're going to have a match of Full Gear, and that match is going to be sick. I'm looking forward to that. And he also called out Will Ospreay, and it looks like he wants to face with him next week. We haven't seen Will Ospreay since Wrestle Dream, but we shall see what happens next. And I am super excited to see that. Also, mentioned we did see footage of Konosuke Takeshita from this past weekend's Maple Leaf show against Josh Alexander, where he defended the international championship. And then after the match, he wanted to beat up on Josh Alexander, but Ricochet came out. So Ricochet put out a promo, and he really wants to challenge Takeshita to show up on Rampage. But MVP comes in, and he has his business card. So I don't know. He wants to recruit Ricochet. I mean, MVP is making his rounds. First, it was Mercedes Moné. Then it was Lio Rush. Last week, it was the Acclaimed. And now this week is Ricochet. So it's only a matter of time on when this is going to happen. Of course, we got to see the Ring of Honor. Of course, we got to see more members of the Don Callis family with Ring of Honor television champion Brian Cage and Lance Archer. And of course, they won the squash match, but they will be a force to work with in the tag team division. And I'm excited to see them being tag team. Also, this segment in particular, so some of the AEW locker room is waiting for the BCC to come out. I'm just trying to pull this up. And we get to see Chuck Taylor. He walks up, and of course he mentions, as I mentioned earlier, he was talking about Briscoe's matches next, but he stopped Orange Cassidy and brought up, the things that they did before AEW, because that's one of his best friends. And he mentioned he doesn't know who has what it takes to stand up to BCC, but he knows Orange does, because Orange has been in battles. Chuck has been in battles. But Chuck Taylor gave us some tough love. And, for me, I do believe Orange is one of my clients. Orange Cassidy is one of my clients, if you did not know. But I'm very happy to see Chuck Taylor back on television. And he does have a good point. Orange Cassidy's put in so much work, and a lot of work. And if you have not seen any of his matches, see his matches when he was international champion. And he knows Moxley in the BCC very well. And also, I see him as a leader. There are kids and adults that dress like him. And he gets so over. And I know the conglomeration, but to handle Marina Shafir, up from Willow Nightingale, who we have not seen since Wrestle Dream. And I feel like she would be a really good counterpart in the female side. And especially since she aligns herself with the conglomeration, it does make a lot of sense. So I am all in for that. I'm really excited that there is a lot of TV time. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we have a new Ring of Honor champion. I'm trying to go through all of this. Oh, and we see the Undisputed Kingdom calling out MJF. So it's really interesting how this match is going to unfold. Of course, Adam Cole wants MJF, but we know MJF is still filming for Happy Gilmore 2, but he said he'll be back at Full Gear. He will be back at Full Gear, so that's definitely something to think about. And he put a challenge out to both Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. Whoever wins 3 matches first gets a match against MJF, because it looks like both of them want MJF. So whoever wins first gets him. So that's going to be something out. And we got to see Kyle O'Reilly backstage looking at the Undisputed Kingdom. So I'm curious on what's that going to unfold. So it's really going to be interesting. Also, we got to see a video package of Penelope Ford explaining her actions on why she attacked Jamie Hager. So Jamie Hager teamed with Ford 2 years ago, and trying to remind people that. And she's listened to what Penelope Ford had to say about her. So that's going to be a good rivalry to address. Also, we get to see the House of Black return. Oh no, not Shafir. Well, look, hey, as I mentioned, Willow, they're going to be ready, her and the conglomeration. But for the first time on Dynamite, we got to see the House of Black return to Dynamite. And they had a wonderful, warm reception in trios action, and they ended up getting the win. But Buddy Matthews had an interesting proposal. Next week on Fright Night, he wants Adam Cole. So Adam Cole and Buddy Matthews had a stare down. So that's a match I definitely want to see. So they put it out next week, and hopefully that's unofficial. Only thing missing was Julia. I know, Julia. Hopefully we see her soon. We haven't seen Julia since Dynasty, so I hopefully we will see her soon. But I'm happy some of the ladies are getting some spotlight. But I'm happy to see House of Black on TV, and hopefully we get to see them more on Dynamite, because I would be excited to see them. Also, we got to see the ladies in action, because this is WWT Live. We get to talk about the ladies. Queen Aminata versus Camille. That was probably the first time I ever seen anybody step up to Camille, because Mercedes looked a little nervous. And I don't think she's used to anybody doing that to her brick house. And I'm so proud of Queen Aminata, because she showed a lot of fight. She really did. And she, after last week when she gave a headbutt to Camille, I was like, wow. And if I were Mercedes, I would be very, very nervous, because sooner or later, you're going to get yourself a slice of humble pie, because some of these ladies that you're messing with, these are not amateurs. These are from the roster. I was very nervous when she went up against Hikaru Shida, because I thought Hikaru Shida was going to give her a beating. But Queen Aminata, she gave everything she had. And I definitely sense a future title opportunity, whether it be the TBS title or the women's world title. She's championship material, and I am super proud of her. But of course, the winner of the match was the Brickhouse Camille. And we got to see Chris Statlander come out face to face. And I know it was 2-on-1, but Chris Statlander is going to give her a go next week, because I'm going to tell you something. If Chris Statlander beats Camille, she definitely should get a shot at the TBS championship. And also, she was a former TBS champion, by the way. So that rivalry is going to be fun. And it's always nice to see the ladies. As I mentioned, we need to get more than one women's match on Dynamite. So, boss man Tony, you need to put in more matches on Dynamite, more than one ladies match. Nothing against the guys, but it would be nice to see. Anyway, shifting gears. Throughout the night, majority of the locker room was waiting for the BCC to come. So they thought they did, but it turned out it was it was Christian and the Patriarchy. And we got to see Christian come to the ring. And shockingly enough, we got to see Kip Sabian running around, which is very odd. So we got to see who attacked Taz, and Hook did a lot of investigation, and it was Christian that blindsided Taz. We don't know why or the circumstances. And the interesting curveball about this is Kip Sabian gave a little blow to Hook. So I don't know if it was a ruse or he's aligning with Christian. I understand with Luchasaurus being out because he had a serious medical emergency. So I think this makes a lot of more sense to him filling in. But it just seems so weird. Like, why would Christian attack Taz of all people? And also knowing that's Hook's dad. That's going to be interesting, and especially with the patriarchy, because I know Hook cannot do it all by himself. Hopefully we get to see Samoa Joe come in, because we haven't seen him in a while. And possibly Shibata, because him and Shibata were tag team partners in the past. So I think we're going to be seeing them help out Hook in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully we get to see Taz soon, because I do miss him being on commentary, and I'm pretty sure he probably wants to beat up on Christian as well when he comes back. But moving on to our main event. Daniel Garcia and Private Party taking on the Elite. Jack Perry, the TNT champion, and the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks. I'm so excited for this match because this is one of the few times that not only we get to see Private Party and Daniel Garcia team together, but this is one of the few times we get to see Private Party in the main event spot. We have seen Daniel Garcia do some main event spots, but this is probably one of the first few times we see Private Party in the main event on a Dynamite. So I'm just so happy they're getting their opportunity to shine and just seeing them grow. Of course, we saw that little weasel, Stokely Hathaway, because he's poking at Private Party. He wants to manage him. And I'm kind of thinking, like, didn't Stokely learn his lesson when they were at the firm together? But anyways, that match really delivered. And it was just so nice to showcase some of the young future stars of AEW. And also really showing that. And also, like them or hate them, the Young Bucks showed why they are the tag team champions. They showed it, and having that synergy. But Private Party got the win. They pinned the Young Bucks again. And the winners was Daniel Garcia and Private Party. But of course, it did not end on a high note because Private Party wants the Young Bucks. They want them again for the AEW tag team titles next week during Fright Night. But the stipulation for that is if Private Party loses, they have to split up. Which is very weird because usually it would have made sense if they would have lost. They would have said, as long as the Young Bucks are the tag team champions, they're not going to get another shot again. But I don't know. It just would feel so weird because I actually don't want Private Party to split up, to be honest. And I know the tag team division is very, very loaded, but I want to keep Private Party. I know. You would think it would have been a full gear Boza, but I guess with Fright Night, they kind of have to do that. Heck, they could have done it for like the Wednesday Night War. That would have been a really good match to do it in. Maybe this is where they sell their souls to Stokely Hathaway. Yeah, possibility, but we shall see because I don't want Private Party to split up, but this is like a biggest opportunity for them. I know it would have been a really good match to have for the Wednesday Night Wars. I think so. I mean, nothing against happening on Fright Night, but this is where they're gonna have to start planning matches during the wars because this could go either way. But it's I think the Young Bucks did accept next week. Private Party, Young Bucks for the tag titles. But if Private Party loses, they have to split up. But it just felt really random. But I'm excited they are getting another opportunity. They have beaten the Young Bucks. ironically enough, because I'm looking at so far their current reign, there's only been 2 tag teams that have beaten the Young Bucks clean. Private Party and my clients, the Acclaimed, have beat them twice. Have beat them. Not twice, but they've beaten them. But it's so crazy. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy. But you know what? I would love for Private Party to get it. I know. But hopefully, we shall see. We shall see. We shall see, because Private Party, I'm happy they're getting TV time. I'm happy they're doing everything else, but I don't know what's going to happen, because if Private Party splits up, well, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, because I really want to see Private Party, but it's going to be interesting to see, because like I said, if they lose, they have to split up, and I really don't want Private Party to split up. I actually enjoy Private Party, but it's going to be a little bit of shakeup in the tag team division, but I really don't know, but it's going to really suck if Private Party has to split, because it's like, I mean, it's one thing, but at the same time, it's like, and they're like doing so well with Daniel Garcia feuding with the BCC. So that's something I kind of have to talk about a little bit, because honestly, I would love my clients to see a claim to get it, but it's like, they're going to be in a situation. It's going to be a situation, because as much as I would love my clients, the Acclaim, to get the belts, they're also going to be in a feud with MVP, because as you saw last week, and also with the heat that they have, it's going to be those 3 representing. They could Daniel Garcia and Private Party. I could see that, but yeah, because considering House of Black, they're going to be dealing with the Undisputed Kingdom. The Bang Bang Gang has to deal with Hangman, Adam Page, and also Austin. He's out for a bit, so this does leave the door open for the trios belt. So we shall see. But of course, Private Party did win, but we're going to talk about the main event. So after the match with Private Party, everything else, we did see the BCC play another thing of mind games, because everybody in the roster was ready, but we got to see Marina Shafir. And apparently it was a ruse, because all 3 members of the BCC came out and they attacked Daniel Garcia, they attacked Private Party, and also John Moxley was attacking too. Of course, the Elite, as usual, didn't do nothing, which, as I mentioned earlier, I would not be shocked if the Elite did align with the BCC, which would make a lot more sense. And also, we got to see, as I mentioned earlier on Dynamite, BCC, they took out Chuck Taylor the same way they took out Bryan Danielson. And I'm going to tell you something. You took out Orange's best friend. Admitted, Courtney, when you saw... No, not really. I couldn't change the TV because I was doing a watch along, so I couldn't change the TV. I couldn't change the TV since I was changing. I was on the watch along, so I couldn't change it. But yeah, I mean, BCC took out Chuck Taylor, and I'm going to tell you something on behalf of my client, Orange Cassidy. It's one thing to take out Bryan Danielson. When you take out his best friend, you're gonna put him in a space that nobody wants to see, and you're gonna see a dangerous side of Orange Cassidy. You thought you saw him. Remember when he hit that wrench on Trent Beretta? Remember when he was international champion and how many matches he had? Most specifically, when he was up against the BCC and Moxley. You don't want to go there. You do not want to go there. So I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be karma. And I'm making a bold prediction because I know this is, I think this is more than just the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This is about taking over. This is more than just the AEW Championship. I predict it's going to be another Anarchy in Arena before the end of this year. I just have a feeling it's going to be another Anarchy because this is far from over. And this is where Orange Cassidy is going to step up as a leader. I think he's a leader. I believe he can. It's just he needs to figure out in himself if he's a leader. I still believe he is. I mean, he's been at AEW from the beginning. But I will say this. There's going to be a lot of hell to play. And I'm pretty sure every member of the conglomeration wants a piece of them. And as I mentioned earlier, especially with Marina Shafir, don't be shocked if you see Willow Nightingale come in. Because as I mentioned, we have not seen Willow Nightingale since Wrestle Dream. Thank you, my sister Honey. Yes, House of Black for the win. And we get to see Buddy Matthews. And also, Honey, you get to see House of Black next week because Buddy Matthews will be facing off against Adam Cole next week. So it will be a rivalry between the Undisputed Kingdom and House of Black, which I am in for. But going back to my point, it's going to be a war between the conglomeration and BCC because this is going to be something that's going to do. And like I said, we have not seen Willow Nightingale since Wrestle Dream. This is going to be fun. And actually, I am waiting to pounce. I am waiting for Willow Nightingale to pounce on Marina Shafir the same way she did with Mariah May. And I know you were hyped about Jericho. Well, I didn't see it coming. I mean, it wasn't a surprise that he won. I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, here we go. I didn't even see it coming. Am I crazy to think Anarchy or Blood and Guts? No, actually, Bosa, you're kind of on because I would be okay. I could definitely see Willow coming in because she is no slouch either. But as I mentioned earlier, like I said, I would not be shocked if the Elite did align with BCC, which makes a lot more sense. And also for BCC, because I know they want to help guys who are not on TV and doing anything else. But if they start to take out stars who are already have a fan base and are also former champions, this is where it's going to get interesting. Because I know some of their top stars are in different rivalries, as I mentioned. Adam Cole with MJF, Will Ospreay with Kyle Fletcher, Swerve possibly taking on the Hurt Syndicate, the Acclaimed as well. They're going to be possibly in a feud with MVP and the Hurt Syndicate. FTR and the Outrunners with LFI. This could really be interesting because if they take out some of their stars that already have a fan base and are former champions, this is where it's going to get very, very interesting. And also, some superstars do respect Mark Briscoe, such as FTR, Swerve, the Acclaimed. Excalibur said they would keep us updated on social throughout. Yeah, that's going to be, I do appreciate that, Boza, but yeah, I'm going to tell you something. This is where my client, Orange Cassidy, is going to step up as a leader. And this is where he's going to really, because as I mentioned, Darby Allin's MIA. So this is where it is. And like I said, I know it's going to be Orange versus Moxley for the title at Full Gear. They know each other so well. But I'm very curious on how the storyline is going to build up because I feel like with the BCC, I don't know who they're going to attack next, but I would not be shocked if they start attacking some former champions who already have established fan bases. But only time will tell. But I'm excited, and the future looks bright. And the positive feedback I'll give, actually tonight's episode, I'm actually going to give it a 9 out of 10. It was a really solid episode. Hi, Hassan. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It was a super solid episode. There were some storylines that was coming in, and everything was heating up, but it's only going to take some time. And also, I love that they're announcing matches early to get the fans hyped up for next week. We already got some matches stacked. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some matches announced either on Rampage or Collision. But so far, Fright Night is shaping up to be super, super good. So I'm very excited on how this episode's going to go. And also, they really need to step up for the Wednesday Night Wars because they're facing off against NXT. So if they really want to step up these next 2 weeks, they really have to continue building on those storylines. So I'm excited for the Wednesday Night Wars and maybe a special watch along for the Wednesday Night Wars. We shall see. But this has been a very solid episode. I know, Bobby, I'm interested to see who goes against Ricochet, but we shall see. But overall, this has been a very solid episode of Dynamite, and the road to Full Gear is starting to heat up. We're getting ready for Fright Night next week. We have Swerve Strickland taking on Shelton Benjamin. Could we possibly see Bobby Lashley coming next week? We have Chris Statlander versus Camille. That match I'm looking forward to see. We've had some matches already announced. We already had some matches already announced. Buddy Matthews taking on Adam Cole. We'll see if Tony Khan's going to sign up on that for next week. And also the tag team title match between Private Party and the Young Bucks. Private Party loses. They got to split up. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I'm ready. But we shall see. But the road to Full Gear is starting to shape up pretty good. And I definitely want to thank everybody for joining on Stone Cold Elite Wednesday. This is Courtney Rice, WWT's Media and PR Princess. And you guys have definitely been on that. And definitely make sure to check out WWT Live. I will be back on WWT Live this Friday. And Hassan, it's ironically enough, he talks about Halloween Havoc because we're going to be giving our bold predictions this Friday. So we're focused on Halloween Havoc. Don't you forget. But I definitely want to thank Hassan, Boza, Bobby, my WWT sister Honey for joining, JD Smith Digi Artist. I want to thank you guys for joining on tonight's show, Mr. Opinionated. Thank you guys for joining on this watch along. This has been really fun, and also the post show. And I'm looking forward to see you guys next Wednesday because the road to Full Gear is starting to heat up. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. And have a good night.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at wwtalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at wwtalkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk.